Welcome to the Meet the Leader podcast with your hosts, Sam and Colin. This is the TNLC podcast that really revs my engine, Cletus.
Oh, wow. So put down that TNLC pen that you did not return and crack open a nice can of Sam is definitely my favorite office roommate. There's a can of that because you are about to get to know TNLC leaders like never before. What's going on, TNLC fam? We are so glad that you're tuning in to this podcast this morning where we interview some of your favorite TNLC leaders. Remember, no notes, just fun.
That's right. We will do all the hard work. We just need you to stay awake.
Well, let's go ahead and introduce our wonderful guest this morning. If you're watching, you've already seen her. If you're listening, you're going to hear her voice right now. Who is it?
Jeska.
Hi, Jeska Johnson.
Hello.
This is Jeska Johnson. If you've never met her before, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do here at TNLC?
All right. So I feel like I do a lot of things at TNLC. One of the main things that I do is I am the New Life student missionary, and I do a lot of admin work. I help with girls' discipleship and planning all the things for NLS. It's probably one of my favorite jobs that I do here, and the one I spend the most time in. I also help with finances on Monday mornings, and I also usher on Sundays every now and again.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Like a boss.
Captain. Yes. So those are just
Captain.
D groups.
Aye. And
Do
I'm
you guys
a
say aye,
disciple.
Like, do you train them to, like, when their captain asks them, like, they have to say aye,
Oh,
aye?
yes.
I wanted to get a hat.
You totes should.
I wanted a captain's hat. Anyways,
We can make that happen.
I may already have one.
Oh.
I just haven't worn it yet.
Oh, that does not
No,
surprise me
I was just
at
about
all.
to say I'm
No.
not shocked by
No.
that.
And I'm also a discipleship group leader. So
Yeah, you are.
for mainly young adults. But yeah, I've done a women's group. I've done a co-ed group. So yeah, it's
What are you leading
exciting.
this semester?
I'm leading a co-ed group this semester with Demetrius.
Nice. That's exciting. So do you still have spots that are open to be
Yes,
filled?
we do still have open spots. They're filling up quick. I think we have 8 people signed up already. But we do have open spots. So
Nice.
if you're
So
looking,
depending on when you're listening to this.
if you're looking for a young
Sign
adults
up.
co-ed discipleship
When's
group,
the official start? Do we remember?
the week of January 27th.
Yeah.
So you still got...
So
time.
Well, it depends. No, by the time you're
no.
listening to this, it's probably already
No.
started. But that doesn't mean you can't get in. If you're looking for one, it's always worth a reach out.
Sure.
good job, Colin.
Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Oh, on to me now.
On to
Just
you.
tell us a little bit about your background. Did you grow up in Florida? What brought you to TNLC? All of that fun. Get to know you.
Yes.
Your life story.
My life story. Well, it all began
Right.
on a winter's night in 1993 when I was born. But I was born in Florida. I grew up in Florida.
Was it a winter's night?
December?
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know what year. You never said in December. I wanted
yeah.
to clarify.
We just celebrated her birthday.
We did.
This is true.
I have a card from you on my desk.
Listen, it took and you got that card on time. So just saying.
Yes.
I have a feeling that wasn't accurate at all.
No, it was on time.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Sorry, Colin.
It was.
Sorry.
We're not
Sorry.
even gonna talk about that. We're just gonna go right.
Okay, Jess, back
I'm
to you.
probably gonna edit it out.
Winter,
I'm not going to.
winter's night.
Yes. So
1993.
yes, I was born to 2 wonderful parents. I grew up in DeLand, Florida, which is on the East Coast. So I'm not used to this West Coast beaches and water and that type of thing. It's not.
Which
not
is
my cup
funny
of tea.
because you'd think it would be called DC.
What?
DeLand, he said the sea.
Oh.
Because it's on the East Coast.
I mean, aren't there beaches and water on the East Coast as well?
Yes, they're better.
Oh,
That's what I was
okay.
saying.
I
That's what
got
I'm
you.
saying. DC.
No,
I get it now. I thought she was implying that there just wasn't that there. But Florida is
So
a peninsula,
There's
there's water.
Yep. So
Yeah.
it's the,
do we need to talk
Geography
about me
lesson.
being a
It's
Michigander?
the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
You Michigoricals probably would not know that.
Michigoricals?
Okay.
That's how you pronounce it.
Right. Anyways, so I've grown up in Florida, always
Okay.
been in Florida. and I have parents, my mom and dad, CJ and Cindy Johnson. They serve here as well. And then I have my sister Marley, who's younger than me, and she's fantastic and does a lot of really cool stuff at TNLC as well. But we grew up over there. My parents became youth pastors when I was in elementary school. And then so I grew up as a pastor's kid in youth ministry, not in youth ministry. Like, you're not quite old enough to be there, but then you still have to deal with all the youth ministry stuff because your parents are youth pastors. So
Did you ever have to come with them just because they were like, we don't have anything else to do with you?
yes.
So
Very
you
much
were
so.
like in third grade in the youth
Yeah.
group.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah. You just like sit in the back room and you're just
Yeah.
like, I don't know what's happening, but cool. And they like let me play Xbox and like, you know,
There you go.
so
That could be worse.
could be worse. But yeah, so that's grew up with that, loved it, and so then I got into youth and was able to be a youth kid and my parents be the pastors, which is always a fun thing. And it has its I don't know, it was fun in a way because you get to be a pastor's kid, so you get like away with a lot of stuff. But then there's also this whole like level of responsibility too. So I grew up that way. My parents stopped being youth pastors, but still attended that church. And then I became a youth leader under the new youth pastor once I graduated and did that for a good couple years. And then my dad works for T-Mobile. So he was a youth pastor and working full-time.
Phone salesman.
No, he doesn't sell phones.
What does he do?
He... how do I
Sorry,
explain
that
his
was just
job?
an assumption based on...
No, he works in operations and engineering.
Oh.
So he does like cell phone towers. He manages the people that keep those up and running. So you have cell service. And now he's in upper management. And I can't even explain to you all the stuff that he does because it's so complicated on spreadsheets. So
I apologize,
Yes.
CJ.
It's not
you
sales.
are so much more than a phone salesman.
yes, so much more.
In our minds and in our hearts.
So he got a job opportunity in like end of 2016, and it was either basically they offered him this position and it meant that we had to move to Tampa. And I was just graduating with a bachelor's degree in business at the time, and it was either move out or move with. I moved with
Of course you did.
because
I
don't
know
we
what
all?
we're talking about.
because I was like, I couldn't afford to be out on my own. And a move sounded good. And I just had a piece about that that's where the Lord was calling us, even though living in the same hometown my entire life, living in the same house, having the same friends. It was really terrifying to just get up and just move across the state. I don't even think I had been to Tampa other than to go to Busch Gardens. So that's like all I knew about this entire area.
It's just a theme park town.
That's it. That's all I knew. And so to move, we were planning to move. We moved. We were in an apartment. Me and my sister actually worked at a summer camp through Lifeway Ministries called Student Life Camp. So I did that for a summer, and it was an incredible experience.
Is that something that was local or you traveled for
We
that?
traveled all
Okay.
across the U.S. on different college campuses and put on camp for youth groups all across the country on different locations. So I was a rec leader, so I got to wear face paint every day to work and just run around.
Jess's dream job.
It was my dream job. I got
Not
to dress
makeup, just paint.
up, face paint, got to wear a shark suit, jump around on stage, learned how to floss.
Hence the captain's
Dab,
hat.
hence
and
all of it.
And still the shark suit.
I
that
still
we've
have the
used
shark
many
suit.
times
It's
at New Life students, at church on Sunday.
All of it.
Yes.
You've probably seen it.
In a dunk tank.
Yes. So got to do that, and it was just so much fun. Definitely one of the most exciting summers, and the most, I don't know, for me, that was a big summer of spiritual growth, just because I was getting out of my comfort zone. The Lord was really working on me, doing a lot of things. I was one of the older, because I had already graduated college, I was 23 when I did that, and most of the people that work Student Life Camp are like college freshmen. So I was
You're like, hey mom. Hey mom,
so
Jess.
it doesn't seem like it's that old, but when you're working with a bunch of 19-year-olds, it actually
Yeah.
is.
No, I don't feel old until Wednesday nights at 6:30. And then I'm like, shoot.
Yeah. But I was having to like people that were younger than me were leading me, so that was a different experience, and really cool how that dynamic worked. And I don't know, it was just such a great and growing, stretching experience for me. And then so
did you oversee people in that, or was it just kind of like where you were kind of like on a team? What was that?
So I was
dynamic?
on a team. I was a recreation leader. So I was a part of, it was our rec squad is what we called ourselves.
Rec squad.
And then I had we had a recreation director. And so that was my direct report.
Got it.
And then there was also the camp director. We called them mom and dad, and they were our director and our like admin.
And they were the ones who were like leading
our camp base. So there's multiple camps that travel around to different areas. So we were the orange team. So each team has a color and has like a camp director that coordinates and everything. And then we have a recreation department. We have a missions department. We have our production department, and we have the office department. So it was like a little mini church like organization that went and moved around.
Yeah.
And so I was on the lower end of the totem pole as far as like, I was a recreation leader, but then I had my direct report goes to the recreation director, and then their direct report is the camp director. So
Gotcha. Well, it's really interesting because I actually, when I was in high school, I went to a few student life camps.
They're the best.
It's super fun. I also did like CIY, all kind of like very similar. So it's interesting hearing a little bit of the behind the scenes, kind of how it works. Because I was always like, how do you organize something like this?
It's honestly insane. Like if you go to their home office, they work all throughout the year to plan the curriculum. They plan the skits and the movies and the different things that you watch. They have their own worship team now, so they actually are coming out with their own music and recording their own thing. So that's a whole new thing that Student Life Camp just started. Yeah. But they have to schedule with the colleges and the locations that they're going to, what times the camps are going to be, who and all the churches that come to the camps, make sure there's housing for all of the students. It is incredible that this is majority, like this entire organization is run by people that are under their 30s, like even from like the higher ups, like and knowing that there's a bunch of young people putting on something for student ministries is just, it's a really incredible thing. And there's a lot of really great camps that do the same thing. Like Fuge is one of them. Center Kid is one that they put on for kids. That's also through Lifeway. But yeah, it was just I had gone to the camp so much growing up that it was such a cool experience to go to the camps every year. I went like to 5 camps in a row growing up when I was in youth group. So to go to all of them.
Back to back to back to back.
Yeah, 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah,
okay,
it was literally.
Not like at a camp for
like,
a whole month in a row.
No, like each summer we went to the same.
T-Mobile dad was making some money.
No. No. So, but then to be able to work the camp and to see the behind the scenes and to meet people that had an impact on my life when I was in youth and going to these camps and to get to see how it all is put on was just a really fantastic experience.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you had a business degree.
Yeah.
But you were working for this ministry.
For just a summer.
For a summer.
Yeah.
So did you ever get back to the business aspect of things, or you just went right into full-time ministry after your summer stint?
So I was working, when I was getting my bachelor's degree, I was working at a shoe store selling Birkenstocks and fancy shoes. Then when we moved, I worked summer. And then when I got back from summer camp, it was a really interesting time that the Lord had me in, because when you're used to doing ministry, you just want to do that. And then I got back and we got settled into our house, and I was looking for a job, and I didn't even have a church home at the time because we had moved. And that's such a weird and uncomfortable place to be in.
Especially when you're used to that.
When you're used to that, like you're constantly doing ministry, even if you're doing other things, ministry was always a humongous part of who I was and growing up and my entire family, that it was really, really difficult to, I don't know, just function in that and kind of trust God with what he had for me. I ended up getting a job at an elementary school, working in the after-school care program and working as a paraprofessional, which is like a teacher's aide. So I started working at Day Spring Academy, and I did a year in second grade, and then I did a year in third grade, and it was fantastic. And I was really worried because I was always used to working with middle and high schoolers that I was like, gosh, man, I'm going to be working with elementary schoolers. What even are they?
Different ball game.
It's a totally
They're
different.
little.
They're so little. And like, I wasn't prepared, I guess, for all of that. You go from dealing with like emotional and crazy teenagers, and then you go like to little kids that like, I can't tie my shoe and I pooped my pants. And you're like, I don't know how to deal with that.
At the same time.
At the same time. So many
Buddy,
things happen.
That's a challenge.
So many things happen. So that was a little bit of a culture shock. Also, I realized that I can't use sarcasm with second graders. It doesn't work the same. You really got to watch that stuff.
Did you make any kids cry?
Maybe. Absolutely.
Did
That's
you
a
feel
resounding
like
yes.
Did you feel like that was fulfilling your desire for ministry in the education field, or was it still like two very separate things for you? Like I go to work and then I still need to find ministry to do.
I think at first I wasn't really sure. I was just glad to be doing something because I don't like not having things to do. But once I got into it, being able, in the position that I was, because I got to do the after school care program, I really got to have more one-on-one time talking with the kids. And I ended up having the same group of kids for 2 years because I moved with them. So I started in second grade and I moved with them to third grade. So that was really, really cool. And I did have a lot of moments with them to where, because I was doing the after school care program and I could just sit down with them while they were doing their homework and hear them talk about their day or that type of thing, I did feel in that I got to minister to them and to talk to them and have a more deeper connection and relationship with a lot of the students that I came in contact with, which I loved. And it did kind of become a part of my ministry and what I was doing. So just being in the classroom, though, as a teacher, it's really hard to have those one-on-one moments with kids just because you have so many of them in such a short amount of time and you gotta like teach them things. And that was a lot because I subbed for about 3 months when so I was just teaching for 3 months, which was insane. So
you were a teacher?
Yeah, for 3 months I was, which
I mean, that's not like you can, I feel like you can sub for like a week and get by without having to like actually act like a teacher. But 3 months,
Three
you're
months
like,
is,
I need to put teacher hat on.
Yep.
And Jess is teacher now.
I was making PowerPoints. I'll never forget the funniest thing. The funniest thing.
That does not at all surprise me.
The funniest thing I ever did was we were talking about Greek gods and goddesses, and I was joking with them, and I said, Hercules and Ariel are cousins, right? And the kids looked at me and I was like, yeah, because Hercules is Hera and Zeus's son, right? And I was like, but Ariel, her dad, Triton, is Poseidon's son. So they're cousins because Poseidon and Zeus are brothers. And they I told them that it was like, of course, yes, I'm talking to second graders. And like, this was like a side conversation after we were learning about Greek gods. But
they're like, look at this information.
They were like,
isn't it neat?
Yes. And they
just made like a family tree.
I did. And it literally blew their minds. And it went over.
So Ariel and
Hercules are cousins.
Hercules. Interesting. Can you imagine your cousin having flippers? Like go to a family gathering and she's just kind of sitting on the couch and you're like, you don't have legs.
I don't think Hercules would care much. I mean, his aunt Aphrodite was born from a seashell and sea foam, and then that one guy has wings on his feet and can fly around. They got 3-headed dogs.
Also when Ariel, mythology.
Also, when Ariel goes to the land, she has feet, Colin.
Yes.
Eventually, but what about before Ursula? What about before
So Jess was
evil
teaching
sea witch?
People about as mature as Colin and I. And then what happened, Jess?
So then I eventually did find an amazing home church. So started coming to TNLC.
Where?
TNLC.
Oh,
Trinity
okay.
New Life Church.
Just clarifying. I just wanted to make sure that.
I had been going to another church and attending a Bible study. I had a friend who started coming to TNLC and was like, "Hey, you should come." That friend was Alicia. Thanks, Alicia.
Hey.
So she had started coming here. and invited me to come. And so I came, and I don't know, me and my sister both came at the same time, and we just fell in love with TNLC overall. I think
Did you come pre-parents?
Pre-parents, yes.
So you recruited them.
We recruited my parents, which is the tables have been turned entirely.
Always remember that,
parents.
Mr. and Mrs. Johnson.
Oh, they know.
So how long ago was that? How long have you been attending TNLC?
So we started attending in 2018, January of 2018, because it was right after December. And
that is what comes right after December.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Checks out.
So started coming then, got baptized in March of that year here.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I think the first time that me and Marley came, we sat and we just loved it so much. The whole atmosphere and the culture of the church, just the first time we were there, we were like, yep, this is it. We're here. And I think we signed up for Chael's D group that day. And we were like, we're in.
Why the heck not?
Discipleship groups, let's go. Yeah, we were just so excited to find a place to where we felt welcome, that just spoke a similar language that we were used to. I think it was just such a natural fit for us, and we knew that this is where God wanted us to be.
So what do you think specifically it was that caused you guys to come in and say, wow, this place feels like home, I want to come back?
Yeah, I think the main thing was me and Marley had just gotten done with this whole experience of working at Student Life Camp and that whole thing. And the way that they do worship at Student Life Camp has always been very powerful and very meaningful to me and my sister, because our home church, as much as we love it, it wasn't, the worship was probably never our flavor as far as personally. And so when we came in and the worship was powerful, people were worshiping, it was not a performance, it was true engagement and worship. We were like, all right, this is good. And then Pastor Clayton got up and started preaching, and we were like, all right, it just got better. And just because he was funny and relatable and scripturally based, and there was a lot of check marks as far as that, but just the whole feeling itself of the church, we knew that it just kind of fit and where we were supposed to be. And then as we were leaving, like, people are talking to us. I think Josh Hunsicker, that guy, of course.
It was impossible for any human being
to get in this church without
to get in and out of this church without having some sort of interaction with Josh Hunsicker.
Right, exactly. So,
hey, bro.
He was one of the first people.
That's what he said to Jess.
Absolutely. Hey, yo, bro.
Probably though.
So yeah, it was just the people that we met when we walked through the door. I remember meeting Chael pretty much first off, and Josh Hunsicker, and just that welcoming spirit. Not only did it feel like a place that people truly were worshiping, and that there was real engagement during the sermons, and then also that the people themselves were welcoming and inviting, and that was just fantastic.
So was it very immediate that you were like, I would like an opportunity to work here? How did the opportunity come about as far as staffing goes?
So I tried to join the worship team first.
Okay.
That was I'm a halfway decent singer. I can't read music, but I can sing. And so I started going, but at that time it was right before Trouble Creek opened. And so the worship team was really, really full. So I was going to worship practices every Thursday night, but they didn't have any openings at the time. And I was like, that's okay. Like, I was enjoying it and coming. And my mom and dad finally went to, I think, a newcomers something or other. They finally started coming, and they went to newcomers, and I think they met Colin, and Colin was saying how he really needed some female leaders in youth. And I had been purposefully avoiding youth, not because I didn't want to serve in youth, but I had done it for so long. I was like, maybe I should just try out something new. Like, yeah, I have other talents. Maybe I can use those too. And so I was just kind of floating in that way, trying to figure out where God wanted me. But my mom came home and she was like, so Colin, the students director, was talking to me and your dad and was saying how
that impersonation of Cindy is 100% accurate.
I mean, she's my mom. So was saying how Colin really needs some more female leaders in his youth group. And I was like, okay, Mom, I got it.
Yeah.
So then I was like, well, it won't hurt anything. I was like, right now, obviously, there's a lot of people that are capable and talented of singing. And if they don't need an extra person there, and I happen to be a decent youth leader and have done that in the past, I guess I can go serve in the youth ministry.
Great.
And you did.
And I did. And so so I started serving, became a high school girls circles leader. Absolutely love it. And I was doing that. I was helping Colin with things here and there, still working at the elementary school. And then all of a sudden, I don't even remember what night it was, but Colin pulled me aside and he's like, "So what do you do?" And I was like, I work at the elementary school. And he's like, "Is that what you want to do with your life?"
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. And I was like,
I don't know if it was that intense, but
it felt
was,
that way. It definitely had that presence. I don't know. At least I felt it. That was how I recall the event happening.
What are you gonna do with
what are you
your
gonna
life,
do with your
Jess?
life? And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I like ministry. Ministry's really great. It's always been a part of my life. I'm just kind of doing the elementary thing because it kind of worked out. And he was like, "Good to know." And then he walked away. I was like, it was like the end of the conversation. It was
man.
I was like, okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so rough.
So then
I had a plan.
6 months later, he comes back around.
Planting the seed. Just planting the seed. To be fair.
You don't plant a seed and then revisit it 6 months later.
To be fair, well, I think there was a little bit more about like potential ministry.
Yeah, you had mentioned here and there.
Right.
There was like,
it wasn't
he's
just like, what do you want to do with your life?
Okay.
So yeah.
Peace out.
I'll talk to you in June.
in June.
That's not how it went.
No.
But you also have to, a position needed to open up.
Yeah,
and
he couldn't make an offer without an actual position. He was just trying to like fish and see if there was any interest, which he did. And then he was like, there might possibly maybe be a thing.
So in that 6 months, what was your thought process?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Was there a moment where you kind of like were like, yeah, that was probably nothing?
Yeah, I think there was definitely.
I mean, 6 months is a long time to just dangle something in front of someone and be like, "Oh no, never mind."
Yeah, and honestly, I was like, well, that would be really cool, and I didn't expect. I was like, well, maybe he just needs like some like part-time help or whatever, and I was like, that'd be kind of cool, and I was like, okay, and I just kind of like left it there, and I was like, if it happens, it happens, and then he comes back around and is like, so, we do have a position. And he's like, went through this whole thing about interning over the summer and how it could be part-time or it could be full-time. And I was like, tell me more about full-time. Interesting. Who is this up to? So went through this whole thing about ministry partnership development and that process and raising funds to be able to work in ministry and that whole thing, which was...
What was that word you just said? Or that phrase, really?
Ministry partnership development.
What is that?
What is that? So basically, it is where you find people who can partner with you in your ministry by financially supporting you and spiritually, like prayerfully, coming alongside you so that you can be able to do the work that God has called you to do.
Mm-hmm. And you are not the first person who's done this. We've had other people. John Mackisback is currently doing this to lead our college. I actually started out this way in student ministry, so it's certainly a viable option.
It was really cool. I had never heard of it before. I only knew of it because John Mackisback had gone through
isn't
it.
that what like missionaries to China do?
Yeah, yeah. So John Mackisback had just done it, and he had actually just asked my parents to partner with him. So they had just gone through this process.
Yikes.
Mom and Dad,
we already got John now.
Yeah, so...
You know how you supported John?
Hey, no.
Also, I know I live here.
For free.
I know that your entire life has been supporting me, or my entire life has been you supporting me.
You supporting me. Can you continue to do that? So yeah, but I got to see kind of a glimpse of what he had done, and he had just finished, I think, support as I was starting. So that was a really cool thing to watch and to be able to witness. And so I didn't really know what it was. I honestly did not know what I was even getting myself into. When we had that meeting, I was like, it's a yes. Like, I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Like, I enjoy youth ministry and I love it. And it's always been a passion. And I think that without me knowing, the Lord had been preparing me for this through like what I learned at working at Student Life Camp all the years growing up, working under my parents in youth ministry, and even working at the elementary school. I think that gave me a lot of tools in a way that I didn't even realize that I needed to be able to do this job effectively. I just didn't know that God was preparing, even my business degree that I didn't think I was going to use, preparing me for
You're going to use it.
Let's use it.
You're going to use
spreadsheets. So it's just really cool that once, like, when Colin asked the question, I was like, yeah, I'm all in. Like, whatever it is, I'm in. So.
Did you know at the time that you were going to be sharing an office with 5 other people?
No, I didn't, but I love it because I'm used to sharing a classroom with like 30 kids. Yeah, exactly. So it's fine.
It's the same, really. It's the same. I mean,
you're at a desk with a child.
Right. So. That's Colin. That child is Colin, everyone, in case you're wondering.
Well, we have learned a lot about you, about your story, about kind of where you've been, what brought you to now. So, thank you for all of that. It's very enlightening. It is about time that we wrap up. So we're going to go ahead and close with a round of rapid fire that we haven't done in a while. The way that this works is there's a bunch of questions right here on the sheet that Jess is going to be asked by Sam. Yep. Now here's to clarify.
Yes. The title
is rapid fire, so we want to ask and answer these questions as quickly as possible. If you'd like a more laid-back, slow challenge, go back and listen to our first episode with Pastor Clayton. He did that for you. But this is gonna be rapid fire, so as quick as you can answer and as quick as you can ask him. I want to see how many we can get through in a minute. In fact, I'm even going to do a timer. I'm going to actually do a timer, and I'm not going to let it go past. Okay? Are you ready?
Oh, yes.
Are you guys ready? Are you guys 3,
okay.
2,
we're just starting right now.
1, go.
What's your favorite movie ever?
Princess Bride.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
People chewing when they eat. Like loudly.
Okay. Blah, blah. Dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Dark chocolate.
If you had a spiritual animal, what would it be?
An elephant.
If you could be from any other decade or era, what would it be?
The 80s.
What is on your Spotify playlist right now?
Lots of worship folk music.
Oh. Okay.
Like worship and folk?
Yep.
Okay. If you could have any 3 people, dead or alive, over for dinner, who would they be?
Oh dear.
Or just one person.
Or one.
One person.
That's a lot of pressure, and I just blanked.
Jesus.
Yeah, that one.
Who would play you in the movie of your life?
Emma Stone.
Oh. What is your favorite TV show?
Parks and Rec.
What is your favorite thing in your closet right now?
Stop.
Sweaters.
But you can answer sweaters. So you know what? We're gonna go ahead and count it.
Yeah.
How many questions? Well, you just saw it. How many questions do you think you got through?
5.
How many questions do you think you read?
I saw it. I know how many I read, and I know how many I starred, and I
reveal
10.
Oh wow,
yeah, that was pretty good. That's
good.
1 question and answer per 6 seconds. Is that correct? Am I mathing right?
Yes.
Business degree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
sure.
cool.
I'm not a math degree. I'm a business degree. There's a difference. Spreadsheets do the math for me.
Yeah. She uses a calculator. She knows how to program.
Which, by the way, you are already using your business degree because we just launched our first episode. I don't know, merch.
First episode of merch.
I don't know. What do we?
It's definitely not called an episode.
Our first
round.
Round is good.
Yes.
First round. So business. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Meet the Leader. I almost said the TNLC Leader Podcast, which is true, but it's the Meet the Leader Podcast. We are so grateful that you guys joined us today. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe on our YouTube, on Instagram, at Trinity New Life. We'd love to have you on there, and that's also going to let you know when these episodes are out, and it's going to give you a way for you to let us know, here's who I would like you to interview. I think this would be a great person for you guys to interview, a great leader at TNLC. So make sure you subscribe there.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say because you took my little thing.
Oh, did I say that?
You did. So thank you, Colin. Jess, thanks for joining us. Everyone else, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Have a great day.